Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Manhood. Today's topic, masculine energy. That's going to be a big one. To my right, Julien. Niall McNish takes Johan Seodike's seat today. He will be back with us for our next episode. And Ancil Blaze Isaac, the man himself,
Junior,
is back with us. Junior.
Yeah, my father is Ancil Isaac, so.
Junior.
Yeah.
All right, Blaze Junior is with us here today. We're talking masculine energy. Now, before we get into it, gents, I want to read now there are many terms for there are many definitions rather for masculine energy, but this one was particularly apt. So masculine energy refers to a set of traits, behaviors, and qualities that are typically associated with masculinity or men.
Okay. It's self-explanatory.
Exactly. But these traits can include assertiveness, confidence, independence, courage, and a focus on achieving goals. Masculine energy can also be characterized by competitiveness, strength, and a desire for control or dominance. It's important to note that masculine energy is not limited to men, as people of all genders can exhibit these traits. Additionally, not all men possess masculine energy, and some may exhibit feminine traits. So that gives us a
starting point.
A starting point
a nice
to
base.
discuss.
I finally leave out logic on that one too. Like being like super logical.
Right.
I feel that might lean towards masculinity a lot more.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think some, from my experience, a lot of women are super logical.
Okay.
And even more logical than men in many instances. Now, the emotional is there, and this is not womanhood, but the emotional is there, but sometimes I think that a lot of ladies are, and I take this from like my mother.
Right, yeah.
She is always very logical, more logical than me. She have 3 sons.
Okay.
And she's been more logical than us most times.
Right.
So that's just the example I have. I don't know if it fits everyone.
So this is what I want to get into. So you were looking at some research earlier, and you touched on logic. So in logic, you actually mentioned about something that I wasn't aware of with regards to how the brain works. So men are
wired. Well, based on the research that I just did, men's brains are wired front to back typically, while women's brains are wired left to right.
So not back to front, so front to back. Okay, very specific.
Have a back, some is back to front.
So I'm very specific.
But because of that, that's where the attraction actually happens now, right?
So
But
across.
yeah, but to go back to what Blaze mentioned about your mom, can I ask a personal question? Did you have your father figure?
Yeah.
So your mom being logical and your father was also logical in your household?
He was a little illogical sometimes. But you know what? In terms of that, we would spend more time with our mom. My dad, he was a soldier.
All right.
He was in the army, so he would be he would work in. You know, that's how it used to be. So you're spending more time with your mom. So I guess he was logical too, but I would experience her logic more.
I just want to add to that, Blaze. So I understand what you're saying, that, because doing my little research and stuff also, they were saying that in terms of masculine energy is more geared towards logic, while the feminine energy is more towards like intuitiveness and that kind of thing.
Empathy, emotions, correct.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But one of the interesting things that Blaze raised there is, a lot of families, probably now, but more so back in the day, the wife or the mother was the one who handled the money.
Okay, yeah.
So like the father figure might be the one earning the money.
Yeah.
Right.
But he taking that money and rested it.
Rest it,
into her.
yeah.
And
It's
she's
over,
the
right?
one.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so that level of logic now, that level of,
Right.
hey, this is what we need to do. This is what needs to be done.
Right.
Blaze, okay, this June, Blaze football practice coming up. So that
aside,
I can understand that
Right.
level of, so I agree with you that in reading, it was saying that more geared towards masculine energy
The logic.
was logic. But I agree with Blaze also from that perspective, like the women were the ones handling the scene when
Right.
it comes to the household and ensuring that things done. Because even to a level now, my wife is the one to really, hey, this is what needs to be
The
done.
quality shot, yeah.
We in March, this is what needs to be done, my brethren.
Yeah,
So
don't
on
forget
flex
this,
wise,
don't
yeah.
forget that,
But would you apply that to logic though? Because for me, I feel logic is more along the lines of when emotions are on the table.
Right.
At some point in time, you have to be able to move aside the fantasy
Right.
and do what has to be done. And a lot of the times, and again, we're generalizing here. We're not trying to, of course, there will always be exceptions to the rules, right? But to me, I find that a lot of the times women, in a general sense, would masturbate to the fantasy of how life's supposed to be, right? And the reason I would say that would be, I am talking to my friend, she's around 36 years old right now, and she's still saying that she wants to wait for the right man who gonna come along and,
Prince Charming?
Prince Charming, right? And I'm like, Mom, after the age of 30, you already use 90% of your eggs. So from a logical standpoint,
Well, the other 10% she want to save it for somebody who deserve the eggs.
That's king.
which I get, but you're not thinking about how you're approaching it logically. You're still trying to live in a space that is not most conducive to you now. So rather than hoping for that perfect man to come along, how about start looking at your pool in your dating pool right now and saying, maybe I can't find the Prince Charming who could sweep me off my feet. Maybe I should go to my friends list, all people in that are put in the friend zone. Maybe I should start looking at those men and saying, I could raise a family with this guy. He's not necessarily the guy that I want.
But she has to be attracted to him, eh?
So after she turned you around, what happened?
After she turned me down.
I just joking.
So that in itself is another topic
Right.
that we want to discuss in manhood.
Right.
Like, can men really have female friends? Or can females have guy friends? Or is it that something just hasn't happened as yet? But I want to bring it back to the topic of today, which is...
I kind of curveball there.
Curveball.
Move on.
Yeah, move on there. Just throw it out there and then.
But I want to add to that before
Right.
thing there, Robbie. I just want to add to Niall in terms of logic and you look at the way men and emotion, logic and emotion seems to be the two ends of the scope. And I don't. It's like men just commit suicide more than women, right?
True.
Right.
Correct.
And to me, it's something emotional that would trigger them to do this. Most men. So then, I mean, taking your life is not logical. Yeah.
I would agree.
But I think...
But men do it more than women somehow.
Yeah. So again...
Just adding to what both of you are saying, I guess we had to also realize that it's never one thing. It's never black and white. So
Correct.
a man wouldn't be only logical.
Most logical,
or
right,
a woman
right.
wouldn't be, or all women.
There's a scale.
only
there's a scale,
emotional.
essentially.
You know,
Yeah.
you must yin and yang. You
Yeah.
must have that balance. You
Yeah.
must. So like, because I think one of the things that they also list under feminine energy is like creativity.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the reality is that we know creative males, we know creative men.
Yeah.
So, and then also they list competitiveness on the masculine energy.
But we know very
we know
competitive.
female athletes.
Yeah,
we know women in the workplace that
Yeah,
must
hell
show,
competitive. Super,
so,
super, yeah.
So I think we need to also establish that it will never be black and white.
So
It will never
agree.
be
So that's why I want to bring it back to the definition that we read initially. So
Right.
competitiveness, creativeness, logic you said was missing from that definition.
Agreed.
But within that, as in that definition, males can have feminine energy as well,
Right.
and females can have the masculine energy. Now, in many respects, that's a good thing, right? And can actually help you survive.
Right.
But the topic, the what I want to drill down to in the focus of this brotherhood that we're speaking about here today is the negative impact, and then
Okay.
the negative impact of females having or in them what is called in their masculine energy. So, give you a case in point. A woman, they have 2-3 children. The guy is doing his utmost to say earn money, bring it in, but it might not be enough. So that you find your partner then lives in her masculine energy and in survival mode, and that might do certain things or have certain behaviors that she has to protect her young and protect herself, and therefore may emasculate the partner. So the man feels less than because the woman may even come and say, "Oh, you can't handle your business." So it could be in the bedroom, it could be financially,
yeah.
it could be in many different ways. And it's that woman taking that stronger sort of alpha male position that then whether subtly, subliminally, whether very very to the frontal lobe, the man is aware of how he's feeling. It's dangerous, and we find. I've had that experience. Right. Where we find that women in their now that's okay as a survival mode in certain cases to get by in certain circumstances, but when it's part and parcel of your relationship and you're there trying to be the man of the house, but you're not being allowed to be the man of the house or you don't feel like you're being the man of the house, it becomes a problem that may then connect to many other things down the line.
Okay.
I stumped everyone there.
No, you didn't stump me. I actually will come into what I will, based on what you were saying, at the end of the day, balance is key, right?
Correct.
You're supposed to have both feminine and masculine energy, male or female. Of course, they'll always have a misbalance. Misbalance is a word?
We can put it down.
Imbalance. Thank you, right? Forgive me to my parents. So what I hear you saying is that there's an imbalance where the woman now feels that she has to take, or she naturally starts to take a more masculine role in the relationship, and the man starts to take a feminine role. To me, that means that the man himself, because if I was in a relationship, it will never happen. You understand? Even if she starts to go up in her masculinity, I know, or I feel confident that my masculinity will always not only match, but surpass hers, always keeping her in her more feminine frame. So if it is that a man is feeling emasculated by his wife or his partner, that what that is telling me is that his imbalance is really saying that the reason why she's becoming that is because he is more feminine. In his frame.
So let me just get a bit clearer.
That makes sense?
It does. But that again is maybe based on the analogy that I gave. That was the perception or what you derived from that. But it goes a step further. I'm saying, okay, so I don't know if you've been in a situation, you the wifey, the girlfriend, partner asks you a question and you give an answer and then they still want to check. Or I'm looking at something on Netflix now. I won't reveal what the series is, but you see things where you're with a partner and they really respect or admire someone else who might be exuding maybe a bit more masculine,
big dick energy.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what it is. That's what it is, and therefore
Alphaness.
And is it like we were talking about? You asked the question earlier about is she attracted to maybe somebody on her friends list? So does it come down to that fact that women are looking, sizing up a man to say, do you hit the checklist of as to what I want my offspring to look like? And therefore, if I'm with you, but you're not, or maybe you started off being that way, maybe they thought something of you at that particular point,
right.
But now they're looking at others as, you know what, I'd rather listen to him. And sometimes they're not doing it consciously. Yeah. It's just whether it's lack of respect or different things that happen. But you mightn't even recognize it now. That's what I'm saying. But you start to feel
But you'll feel it.
But you start to feel it.
Okay.
And then you start to feel less than like you might be trying your best to do something. Yeah. You might be working as hard as you can to make $1 and somebody.
But the reality still remains that even though you're feeling it and you're working as hard as you can and you're still not able to satisfy mentally for her, that still doesn't take away from the fact that that man might still be more feminine.
Granted,
you know.
But what about the other scenarios where they're not?
Well, if that's the case, then in reality, she will never be able to be in her masculine frame. Two man rat can't be in the same hole. So if I'm a man, I'm an alpha man, right? And she trying to go up in gears, it will never work out. Something will give. Somebody will break.
I don't think it's a trust thing too. Like they don't trust that, listen, if I relax here, if I don't do something, that you will meet those needs. That if I stop working or if I stop doing this particular thing, that therefore you would step up to the plate in that point. I think it comes down to, in certain cases, a trust thing.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's true what you're saying there, Niall. I mean, it have some men, they're very, very alpha. And, you know, it's my house and my rules and they take it down. And obviously they can't really content with a woman who not just willing to just buckle down and behave.
Right.
Independent.
Submissive, that kind of thing. And it's true. But I believe even with the manhood and male energy and man energy and alphaness, I believe also that there must be a balance. And I think part of being a man is understanding a woman.
True.
That's just how it is.
Right.
And the energies, obviously, you have your masculine energy and you can't help it. It's just like men who have a little more feminine energy, they can't help it. You might think, oh, Dan, what I'm to you. No, he can't really help it. Just like others, you can't help it. So it really comes down, boy, honestly. I mean, and I know we're not talking about relationships in this episode, but if it's relationships, it really comes down to a kind of balance. Now, when I say men, is just take it easy, They have masculine energy, but they're just cool.
Why fight?
I don't really fight. I don't quarrel. You don't have men like that. Wherever, well, you go ahead now. You want to buy peanut butter, well, go ahead now. I don't really like it, but whatever.
Right.
But if I do that, that doesn't mean that my masculine energy gone.
I agree.
You understand? It just means that that's not really important to me. I don't really care about that.
That fight now worth
that fighting really worth it. That quarrel, that side eye, that cut ain't really worth it. You know what I mean? My priorities different. And that's another thing too. People priorities change during relationships.
That is correct.
What they start off wanting, they mightn't want that in the middle. And in the end, they wouldn't, so that's how things happen, and that's why they say people change. It's not that people change, It's that what you want change. The person is the same person, more or less.
So you mentioned having a balance, right? And you also went on to say that as a man, you need to understand your woman. That there in itself is empathy, which is a feminine trait in terms of masculine and feminine, right? So where the balance really is for a man, if you're well balanced, you would understand your woman. For me personally, I don't agree with alpha males, that whole alpha male lifestyle, because that to me says that you are imbalanced in your masculinity. You way too masculine. You're too much on one side, right? And for you to only function as a masculine man who you so alpha, you need a super feminine woman who's just, she don't talk, she's submissive, So I could see why those two match. But what happens when the scale is a little bit warped in between? That's where the mismatches happen. And sometimes the reality is you're in the wrong relationship with the wrong person.
And the woman coming, just to touch on what you just said there, is it then that the woman doesn't see enough masculine energy from you or doesn't feel that masculine energy from you, and therefore whether it be that you simply don't have it, maybe a too, for lack of a better term, creative, or
too much on that scale.
Too much.
It's skills.
Skills. All skills.
So, I mean, we all sit here and we all are creatives.
Exactly. And some more than others. And in certain...
I can't help it. That's the most creative here.
I thought my brother there when I jump on.
Joel, back up here, Joel.
Yeah, So, is it that they simply don't feel that from you, rather than you may be in a case where you're picking and choosing your battles, and therefore they mightn't? It's not that it's not there; it's just simply that they don't feel it. And so I'm coming back to the point of women feeling that pillar that they require, or that, even though you may have that pillar that you might be earning, etc., they don't feel that, and therefore they're looking at someone else, maybe in another relationship, and going, why my man can't be like that?
Well, the funny thing that you mentioned that, because the time about last week or so on your show, the morning show, you all were asking, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate like your significant other, or masculine or whatever? And a lot of up to the point when I was listening, a lot of the women was rated their significant other a little 5,
6,
and wanted more. And say so there were some instances where women were saying, boy, I want him to tell me I can't do that. Or,
they want that.
And I was like, what?
Serious?
Wow.
Yes.
And they gave their names?
No, but we can find out. We have to
but like and the majority
very
of them,
interesting.
the majority of them were saying, but he's a mopsy man, you know. So there's a
Right.
woman that was
The
saying,
people
but
husbands that they were talking about.
Yeah, they talk about their own.
So they want that assertion. They want that
they
bit of
want that
aggressiveness.
So here's my question: how come they in those relationships with those men?
They just settle. Some people, and that's what it is, you know, because a lot of people, and you see it with women, you see it with men too. And this is by no means a relationship forum.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right,
Yeah,
but just saying,
talking
based on the experience, and as Joel pointed out, even I was taken aback with the results of that poll.
Yeah.
It was an unofficial poll, and the woman and them were saying, well, he's a 4. I need to be a little more assertive, but he need to tell me, hey,
he need to tell me, I want to buy something, and tell me no.
yeah,
No, don't just give
and
it.
a woman say that, she say he need to tell me no, but he not telling me no enough.
But I grew up in the time where a happy wife is a happy life.
Well, that's
That-
what
that- that's what I've been
That's what we
printed.
were taught, right?
Who we taught that by though?
I don't know. We just heard it.
From where? We have to
Babylon.
identify
You just hear
those
people
things.
saying that, but
Babylon.
you
Nah,
just
so
hear
like
people saying
that-
those
that-
things.
It comes down to the episode where we spoke about toxic masculinity. Where do these phrases, where do these sayings, where do these
Come from.
come from?
Yeah.
They're just in the air.
Yeah.
Like I heard, right? I heard, not to cut you off, Joe,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's it.
I heard, I was doing a function and a guy, he was giving, some pep talk and thing, and he said, I tell people, pull up your big girl panty. And I never heard that before. You ever heard that? I always heard, pull up your big boy pants.
That's what I hear.
But he said, pull up your big girl panty. And I say, wait, look at that. I never heard that before. But where these things come from, we don't know.
Yeah.
No, it come from him. So
Yeah.
if every time I say that, it will come
You
from
remember,
him.
yeah.
I can't remember in a few years, I can't remember who said that.
So, and then also with the relationship thing, right? We know Bob Marley.
Oh, yeah.
Bob Marley had Rita and whatever. So I was watching this documentary a while back now, and they're talking to Rita. And Rita was basically saying, boy, Bob is not the kind of man I liked, He's this little red man, soft feet, thing. She said, what I like, big strapping,
Yeah.
tough,
Yeah.
dark skin. And then they flash a shot of Peter Tosh.
That producer so wicked, boy.
And I said, it's so hilarious, sir. Because she said, well, obviously we know what has come out of it. She
Right.
has legacy and generational wealth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the man that was really her type
Didn't, yeah. He
was
couldn't-
no soft red man who's singing.
Yeah.
A crooner.
He's a hard man.
Yeah, a hard man.
Hard man. Yeah.
So is it safe to say that sexual attraction and security for women sometimes are different people?
True.
Because women are wired to be secure.
Well, that's why
She
women
wanna-
is going on. And
Which
men too.
makes sense.
That's what it is. Because if you are unfaithful, unfaithful, in a relationship, so that person have something
That missing.
that missing here.
Yeah.
That's what it is. He might have the finance and security and whatever. I'm not saying that the man can't have his time, but he's not enough.
Yeah.
So you go by a Joe Grind. Because that's what this position Joe Grinds on. He working away.
He works nowhere.
Yeah, the block.
Sorry.
And then he just
All he know what to do is smoke weed and beat her back.
Yeah.
Correct.
And he stop smoking
He wear
weed.
no drawers. He just a man just waiting to kill people. Or kill somebody, wife or kill friend. That's what Joe Grind is. Right?
So is it that
So he have
monogamy
masculinity for her.
Is it then a way of saying monogamy, for the most part, is a construct? Is it that like as you said, 80% is the safety, who's the man she may marry, and the 15% or 20% is the bad boy in the back of her mind that either was part of her body count, or is it that person's looming outside, or is some sort of fantasy to be fulfilled, hence that there would never be 100% of a respect or a full-on, I'm into you type scenario, because if you're married the bad boy, then that comes with other things.
Well, yeah.
You
You might get too much.
You might get too much.
He may not necessarily be the person that you will look at as a father figure for your children and stuff like that.
I feel that's the main thing.
You know, so correct. You know, so like
somebody for the future.
yeah, somebody that you could, somebody who will ensure 3 o'clock the children had to get picked up. Yeah. Not 3 o'clock. Key on a beat somewhere. You on a beat
Somebody else. But that's what Joe Grimes doing on
you know,
life.
They live it. They are living.
Joe Grimes live the life.
So that means what based on the comment, this is a real good conversation, I must say. So that means based on if a man is imbalanced
Right.
to a woman, she will always err to the side of I need to ensure that my offsprings are okay. So if it is he not given the full masculinity that she really want, where her sexual side and her emotional side could be satisfied, she will always lean towards the side of my kids need to be okay. That's all I can. As I say, at 30, 90% of your eggs done gone. So her mind done switch into, I don't care about nothing else other than my offsprings.
So you're making a very, very good point there. So is it then that we're looking at masculine energy in two silos, or maybe, as maybe in one complete one? But if you are in a relationship with no children, masculine energy may be different in this particular circumstance. But with kids, there's survival that comes in. So you may say, listen, that 15%, that's my needs, I could put on a back burner, or I could get that by Joe Grimes. Right?
Well, yeah.
Basically.
But the masculine energy, in terms of I look at you and my masculine energy is suppressed, because in this particular case, I don't have to be in survival mode because you're a good father. Or if you're not a good father, then it's elevated.
Then it will increase.
As a result of you're not providing that. But if you're also not a Joe Grimes and satisfying the other side of me, then we're in a problem. So is it that we compartmentalize it to say, okay, well, there's a difference, and as we speak in relationships and masculine energy, between a woman with kids and a woman in a relationship without kids, because in both cases there could be that masculine energy that's in a negative capacity.
I mean, it's very, just as we do on this show, where we look at manhood and we discuss male esque topics and its complexities. And the same thing happens with relationships. People can write books from now till whenever. People will buy it, but it still wouldn't provide all the answers. That's just how it is. And when we delve into these things now, we delve into complexities. Each relationship is complex because it's like a human being. All of us are different in some form or fashion. There's not the perfect human being. Although Hitler tried to make that, that failed miserably. But at the end of the day, it's something where it's very complex now. So to say that what might work for X might work for Y, and that's where all the complexities start to happen. While a woman might like a man who real artsy and thing, and then like, so no, I want hard man. So it all over the place. So this is something that we can just speak out, discover, and keep on discussing now.
Keep on discovering.
Correct. With healthy discussion,
And on further to that, Blaze, is the fact that people change today. You like pale
out. Just
tomorrow you want steak. So you go through different points in your life, social influences today.
Because we as men change too,
Exactly.
We change too.
We have different wants as we age.
As we age, you're thinking and you're watching, and nobody's 100% complete for somebody. That only happens in the movies.
Exactly.
And we are all trying to live with life like a movie, and then we find out that's just a movie.
That's just a movie.
So in other words, basically the balance of femininity and masculinity keep changing. The scale always keep moving as you go along. So for me now, again, trying to understand this in totality, I have to, if I'm a husband and I have a wife with children, I have to identify that her scale's moving, and I have to try to adjust my scale accordingly, and vice versa. If she's a good wife, she needs to know that my scale moving, I mightn't be as aggressive as I was to begin with. So she might know,
she had to
adjust her scale into
and then different things change you. Because I know it are men who's real hard man, them as bad man, them as you can't mash the clocks. They can't don't even look at me. Don't look at me. And these men, I have seen these men change And them, well, back in my days, them fellas is grandfathers now.
Yeah.
And them real cool and calm and nice because things like children, this change people in.
Yeah.
Like men.
Yeah.
I have 2 girls and girl children is like change, you know.
Yeah.
They softening up, anybody who have girl children. Now, boys, all children is change people. Boys, had to take I don't have boy children, so they probably had to take a different approach with a boy. So different things. Now, Niall might do so now, and Niall is a hard man, or Joel, right?
Like,
and she like the hard man thing now. And then she make a girl child for him, let's just say. And he just start, all of a sudden, after he get a girl, he just become more flurry and soft. And she might be watching him and say, but you understand? But he can't help it. He can't help it because he adjusting to life, you know.
Correct.
So this is what takes place. The manhood now and the masculine and the thing, different things is change it at different times. You understand? But then when your daughter grew up now and she get a boyfriend now, all of a sudden you're masculine again. You go back up now. You saying, well, I had to show him who's more man now. So it is right. It is right. And as Niall said, you had to know when to adjust with her because sometimes she might be feeling I find her not really assertive enough, and in work they tell me to need to be more assertive. So she now trying to be more assertive, and she coming at you with the assertiveness now. And you say, "Mawam to she, right?
Take it on, I guess.
Take it." but it's a circumstance causing that, you know. You understand? It's a circumstance causing it in the same way, just like how I explained with the dad. So this is something that going back and forth and it riding during their life is different things, and we now need to adjust with each other.
But most people don't know how to identify that
we don't know.
with themselves. Worse yet, with their partner.
Yeah.
Because as my grandfather told me a long time ago, he said, women is tests for men.
All the time.
They go and test you
Yeah.
every week. Because again, for her, it's security and safety, right? So just like how you want to know if this is firm, if I could stand on this, you'll do a little test first. You're going to get tests every day. So just like as the example they gave Rob, where she might, she ask you a question, you give her the answer, but she still go back and check. That's like she testing. She testing. And that's where now the man now supposed to either pass or fail. And the fail might be boiling down. When what she's really looking for based on the survey, he's supposed to be
come out now.
I don't tell you that this is the answer. You're wasting my time.
You have phone.
So let me just
Take that based on the voice.
but then we come back to, as you mentioned about listening to Blaze show where they talk about that, and maybe they're missing that percentage, but do they acknowledge, first of all, that they're missing that percentage in their peers? Or if you hear that conversation, or a friend call you and say, hey, that sounds like the wifey voice, and then you decide this, and are you going to put on a bit of assertiveness? Is it now when they this week they're feeling like this, the following week they make a change, or like I said, they watch something on TV, something happens, all of a sudden you in toxic masculinity. All of a sudden, you in a different realm now that now could be having a negative impact, even though you're positively trying to enhance your relationship or to fill a gap. So is it that we're saying women simply don't know what they want, which is natural,
I think people,
they're human.
I think everybody
don't know what they want.
People don't know what they want, babe.
And so if you don't know what you want because you're human, things change, life changes. How then? If I just bring this sort of full conversation back to, we want to always leave someone with, we don't know it all. We don't pretend to know it all. We're not speaking on behalf of all. We're just speaking. We're just talking. We're having a conversation. So if in masculine energy in your relationship, you simply cannot provide what might have them in their masculine energy, what do you do? So, they want a Range Rover or they want a particular lifestyle, and you hustling for $5,000 a month, but you're honest living. You're doing everything that you can do. or in another situation, it could be in the bedroom, wherever the case may be. But if you simply can't deliver that, is it a case of walk away?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to move on. You
Yes.
have to, because why you staying there? I mean, you cannot. Listen. I as a man, I just call a spade, and you need to call a spade before you call it with people. You need to call it
With
with
yourself.
Introspect.
I can't go in a bodybuilding competition with abs. I know that. I'm not gonna try. I'm not going. If somebody say, Blaze, we were here for a bodybuilding competition, I say no. Why? Because I can't I don't have the body with bodybuilder. You understand? And you have to be real.
Not this month.
Yeah, I wouldn't even do that. I say, I really can't come in that way.
Yeah,
Check Niall or Joel. Oh. Well, you can check Robert with you.
Stop doing it like that.
I'm a partner, right? So that is where we need to channel first,
Right.
in terms of we need to arrange and kind of judge ourselves and not too hard, but that's what we need to do. We need to be real with ourselves first, and if that is not happening for you, you need to move on, find somebody else, go by yourself.
Yeah.
Do some introspection, or have a conversation and let the person know how you feel and what they want and whatever, and see if some kind of compromise can happen. That's based on communication. If she say, well, I don't really want to hear you, I want long organ Morgan.
It is what it is.
Damn it,
Can't
Morgan,
you say, well,
Morgan,
I
boy.
can't, there's no way I can come in that realm.
It just,
I need to press. You understand what I'm
But
saying?
to
Damn it,
be real
Morgan,
with
Morgan.
yourself, you actually need to have a balance between logic and emotion.
True.
You have to have that, because
Yeah.
you can't be. You need to be able to say, okay, something not working, which is the logical side coming into play, and then you need to be able to have empathy, self-empathy, which is now your emotional side. And the only way you could do those two things is if you're balanced on the middle. Because I could tell you for sure, alpha males cannot tell when they on
They
one
don't
side.
know,
They can't.
and they don't care.
They know business. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So following the thought where you say, yeah, you had to be real, but I feel it really takes practice over and over with your partner, not only with yourself, but with your partner, to get to that level of, something not right with me. I feel like I might be a little too soft with you, honey. Like being able to talk to you. I sure no man ever say, I'm a little bit too feminine with you. What do you think?
Nah.
I doubt a conversation like that ever
And she
happened.
say, yeah, boy, I think so. I
And
think
she's like-
you need to be a little hard with her.
Maybe no real talk. Why those women call into the station rather than talking to the man and say, oh gosh, tell me no now. Tell me I can't do this now, please.
But you see, it might be opening Pandora's box at that point, because if you directly tell them that, hey, tell me no, right? Or tell me go and do something. You see, when they're ready to switch now, and the next week, the following week, they decide they're in a different zone or a different mode. You say, but you tell me. You ask me to do this, or you might find that they like it. You might find that the man now likes, hey, I like...
Girl!
I
like it this.
Put a plate of food on that table.
Why I ask for that? And where do you then rein it back? And this is some of the things. So the flip side to the conversation now is feminine energy with a mate. How much do you then exude? How much do you
In terms of
showcase?
feminine. For men, you're talking
men.
about. I don't know. And as I said, it goes back to who
that
you
balance,
are. And,
yeah.
it
And where you are,
balance.
who you are and where
It's
you are.
different, boy.
Well, I
Because then
consider-
you could be somebody calling on Blaze Show. You could be the recipient of somebody calling on Blaze Show if you're out there in your feminine energy.
No, just to be clear, feminine energy in men does not result in homosexuality.
Right.
That's
No,
what I'm
no,
talking
no,
about,
no,
right?
no,
It's just,
no,
as you say, you're a little too
Soft.
Yeah, you're too soft.
Okay.
Not necessarily that you're attracted to
Understanding.
men or anything
Yeah,
like
no,
that,
no.
or you're moving a certain way.
Correct.
It's just that you're a little too soft.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's communicate. What
Yeah.
can I do for you today? Let me give you a massage.
Which is not
On
horrible.
Blaze
Man,
Show,
I'm
you
not
say,
cool with that too.
A woman was saying that, like, it's either her friend or something like that. Like
Yeah.
when, as soon as she walked through the door, husband has take off her shoes,
And
massage
massage
her
her foot
and she say, boy, he's a amuxi man.
He's a soft man.
Heady height.
And it's like, I was asking, right? I asked her, well, don't women want that?
Want that, exactly.
But where it came from, and I came to that conclusion for myself, it came from a place of jealousy.
Could be.
Because she said her friend. her friend man is do that now, and her friend man is a soft man, but it coming from a place of jealousy because like she wish she had a man who just do that.
The rubber foot.
You understand? So you had to look at where things coming from too, you know.
Well,
And then love languages.
That's really interesting.
Because some women say they want to be touched, and then when you're touching, you're not touching me hard enough, or you're not touching me in a
Soft
kind of
enough,
way. You're moving too soft, or you're getting there, like.
Well, when you always say, I feel like I'm the man who will rub my wife's foot when she comes to the door.
And that's what I'm saying.
I'm very acts of service, which is my love language, right?
Yeah.
And I have been told that I'm more of a feminine guy. I get hit on by gay guys all the time. You know, so you can say gay. I don't say so, sorry. Like I'm very, very confident within my masculinity. Right. That's why it's no issue for me to say this, right? Like I wouldn't get offended when a man walk up to me and be like, "Yo, you're very attractive." I'd be like, "Oh, thanks. It's cool." You know.
If they come they are sharp, then obvious. If they come in too sharp.
If you come like anything else, if I tell you, "Yo, I'm not interested," and you're still activating, then I might have to. Push the scale back over and be like, "Yo, my lord, like be real." I can get on my jet still too. So my point is that I'm very.
When you say my lord, I thought you call it like you're gonna pray. With the way now hell say my lord. No, it's not like that. Say my lord. You always see scene.
No, again, as I'll say,
my lord.
Or you could say my lord just before before you activate.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
It's by the English.
This man because I about
no, I actually had to get to that situation like that because again, I'm so passive.
Yeah.
You know, he felt like, I was rejecting him rather than you still think I was gay.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he felt like I was playing hard to get. And I had to hit him my burners. I knew that at that point in time I had to put on my logical cap and I had to be more aggressive in that particular situation for him to understand I'm not homosexual at all.
You're just
I'm just very
cool.
passive. I'm cool.
Yeah.
You understand? I am cool. But granted, I may have been showing signs because one, I was in a space where I wasn't supposed to be in with a girlfriend at the time because she was supporting one of her gay friends, and I have no problem going to a gay bar.
Yeah.
You understand? I with my gal. You understand what I'm saying? So he now thinking, and he bring a drink across for me, and I'm like, huh?
In Trinidad.
This is in Trinidad.
You're wearing your pencil jeans.
Wearing my pencil jeans, and he bring a drink across for me, and I say, thank you. Didn't drink it. Something fruity, right? I don't like that. So I just leave it on the bar and they come across and talk.
Give me a beer.
And so all that to say,
no neat.
All that to say is that I may be my balance may be more on the feminine side if I'm looking at myself from third person, right? Mm-hmm. So I could see how women, especially the women who call in, would look at their man and say, he a little bit too feminine for me. Mm-hmm. But that just tells me that they now are with the wrong person. They chose that person out of security for their offspring rather than what they truly desire. You understand what I'm saying?
But then that could be logic.
That could be
logic rather than emotion.
Or desperation. Because that could be instincts rather than logic.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're just doing this because they know they have to do it now. That's not a decision generally that could have been made. You understand what I'm saying?
So real good conversation as always.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one's particularly because I think this one brought in a lot of other topics.
Right.
It did.
Also it allows for a lot more topics to come from this.
From it,
You know, there's so many conversations that could be derived from this energy. Even something you had mentioned at the top, which was speaking about men committing suicide, and there's also reasons behind that.
Yeah, there are a lot of reasons.
As we go into domestic violence and those types of conversations. So that being said, Blaze, you want to close with your closing thought?
Well, the thing is, I mean, when we have these great discussions, you realize that we can't just discuss one thing because everything kind of interrelated now.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we might say things over and over just because it's interrelated, and you can't discuss this topic without that. It can't stand on its own.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for me, it means, as having discussed this with three of my colleagues here, it means balance. We are how we are, whether that's the way we grew up in the environment or examples, whatever. But we need to adjust to people, and people need to adjust to us.
Correct.
That is what it is. That's what I think. And sometimes what you start with, you might really want that. You know, and those are the changes that we go through. Sometimes the changes are unfortunate, you know, and unfortunate things happen because of those changes, but we can't help it. It's just human nature. So the whole thing about this, and about all the discussions that we always have to discuss, what we've discussed, what we will discuss, is balance. That yin and yang, that's just, that's the universe.
That's the universe, correct.
Facts.
You understand? So that's why, again, from this, that things happen. When you start with, you might want it again, you might switch, but then the communication must be there somehow or the other, you know, and you adjust accordingly.
Okay. Joel?
Well, my takeaway is long organ, Morgan.
Joe Grimes.
Normally, it's
man, didn't go
yeah, that from that tribe.
Nah, but on a serious note, as Blaze says, you know, in life, everything is not black and white. It's not. This has to be so or this has to be so. The reality is that everybody has a level of masculine energy in them and a level of feminine energy in them, and as Niall was continuously saying, is finding that balance. So to me, that's what comes out to, you know, it will never be, even within the most alpha of alpha males, there may be something, there is a level of feminine energy that no matter what they say, there is that there. And on the other end of the spectrum, in the most feminine of women, otherwise, you know, you'll always have that masculine energy, and it's all about finding the balance between the two and helping us navigate through life with balance. Because anything that is any of too much of one thing will never be good. I love curry, eating curry every day, 3 days.
Soggy.
Too much of one thing.
Too much of one thing will never be good. So, you know, it's just all about finding the balance. And this conversation, I have enjoyed each conversation that we have had so far. It's always good sitting down with brothers and reasoning. And, you know, I think that I would encourage that, you know, so, yeah.
Niall.
Okay. In closing, for me, I would say that it's been established that balance is needed, right? But I feel like the conversation needs to start with self-realization and reflection. I feel that's the main thing. And only then you could now understand someone else, only when you have a strong understanding of self.
Right.
After that, then you're wasting time, to be honest, right? And I just want to reiterate that when we use the words feminine energy and masculine energy, we don't mean female and man.
Correct.
We just mean
Correct.
the traits that fall
traits.
underneath those based on the description that you read, right? So that's the only thing that I wanted to make sure that was said,
Right.
you know, and that's it. I really appreciate this having me on as a guest.
Absolutely.
And he hit on our bonus.
And unfortunately, I didn't want to. And any after doing it, I was real upset. My Lord.
I pull off your glove. My Lord.
You know?
So, you know, once again, a really, really good conversation. I hope that those who are listening and viewing really take something away from our conversations. And again, we don't even attempt to speak on behalf of all men or even speak on behalf of what women may be thinking. We're simply having a conversation to invoke thought, opinion, and to hopefully make change. And also, manhood is about better as brothers, of which we all are. So, Niall, you know, it was a pleasure. I think,
Of course, man.
You certainly brought, you know, something, you know, a next level to the conversation. And the takeaway for me in this particular episode is balance. And in balance, we are not talking about masculine or feminine energy, feminine as a gender, as you alluded to, Niall, but it's an energy, and there's nothing wrong. It's actually a positive for males to have feminine energy as well as females to have masculine energy, but there must be balance. Balance is important. So, guys, next episode's topic.
Yeah, man.
Topic.
What? Topic one time?
What are we talking about?
I don't know.
Relationships.
I feel like you mentioned something to do with domestic violence, especially in the household, and I feel that
Because it goes both ways.
It goes both ways. You know, there are a lot of men who get abused in their households, and it goes unsaid a lot of the times now. And I feel like that's something that some men need their voices heard in situations like that.
And men, you know, the fact is, why we doing those things? Because in the same way, men are also recipients of domestic violence, be it mental or physical abuse. The stats show it's women for the most part. In Trinidad, I believe it's 3 in 1.
Because it's reported.
It's reported. So it's simply not acceptable, but that's next. So that's next week's topic.
All right.
There we have it.
And we also need to touch on that topic of suicide.
Suicide.
Because
So another episode of Manhood. Joel, Niall, Blaze, myself, Robert. Thanks again.